the hot topic of the week. I am bringing in April a different topic every single week. And this week is I'm pulling a lesson from my Manifesting Love course about how to set and then hold boundaries. And it's such a hot topic because sometimes we know what we should be doing, but then we're not doing it. And it's usually when you're not upholding a boundary and you're tolerating less than you deserve. Let me know if that resonates with you. And yeah, I just, isn't this roof pretty amazing? Thank you, Tara. Hi, Brian. Hey, guys, as you're tuning in, where in your life are you compromising standards and renegotiating the line? So one of the ways that I talk about drawing a line is about first understanding sometimes where you are putting it in the wrong place. Sometimes people draw lines around other people and their behaviors, waiting for them to actually mess up, or let me draw a line or a wall around this person or that person. But that's actually not a true boundary. That is just a way to seal yourself off in a way that's usually done in fear. When you draw a boundary in fear, you're usually actually not making a boundary. So that's something that we're going to unpack this Thursday in the lesson. I'm just going to give you some wisdom nuggets right now, and you can take notes or just pull this into your heart and start thinking about these things. Tomorrow I'm going to do a free live Q&A. Side note, so tomorrow, Tuesday, April 14th, I'm going to do a live Q&A about boundaries. That's open to everybody. Thursday's lesson, this is from our VIP course on love, but I'm going to just give you some wisdom nuggets right now, let you think about it, and then jump into the live Q&A if you want to, and then jump into the lesson on Thursday if you want to, because this topic is such a hot topic. It could actually really change your life. This is something I've worked on personally in my life for many, many years to get to where I am finally now. And I mean that with a whole lot of trust. I had to learn a lot of, standards that I wanted to uphold in my life. And sometimes when you are not holding your lines, you're really neglecting your own self-worth. When you respect your lines, your boundaries from a courageous place, not a fearful place, you wind up respecting yourself. So it's a deep, deep lesson in self-respect. It's a deep, deep lesson in self-worthiness and what's okay for you and what's not okay for you. And are you, neglecting your own feelings along the way because you're scared of something, you're scared of losing something, you're scared. So we do this all the time. Let's talk about it in different aspects. Number one, health. Okay, a lot of the times I noticed when I used to own gyms with my husband that people used to come in and they would know the line, but they'd compromise the line of their own standards and they would be inconsistent in their health goals. That's one area where you might not be drawing tight enough boundaries, and you continuously move from a place that you're negotiating what you want from fear. Okay, so I know this is super deep, but it really is what keeps people very inconsistent in their health goals. I heard all the time, I know what I should be doing, but I'm not doing it. And I'm that is a boundary thing. You're not holding a line. So sometimes you might just be drawing a line because you're sick and tired of feeling a certain way, or you can't button up your pants, or you're hating yourself in the mirror. And with that level of disgust and disgrace and self-rejection, which is not entirely healthy, you draw a line. You're I'm so sick and tired of this. I'm so done with this. And you draw a line, right? So if you draw a line in that moment of disgust, and then you start on a healthy journey, you might be used to waiting. This is a big nugget right here. You might be used to waiting for things to get so bad that the negative prompt is what prompts you into motivation. Psh, let me know if that mind blows you for a second, because if you are always in this pattern that literally perpetuates the pattern and you can't get out of it through action, because it's not an action-based thing. You'll wait, you'll self-sabotage, you'll hate yourself, and then you'll start again. Or you'll quit on yourself and then get things so bad again and you're starting again. So I used to see this all the time in the health and fitness world. Let me know if that's you. I see a couple of comments saying, OMG, that's me. Yeah, that's time You need this boundaries lesson because it's actually a boundary within yourself, to you, from you. You're roadblocking it, and you're actually able to unblock it when you learn the steps of how to really create boundaries from love, not fear, not self-hate, not rejection. So that's where you draw boundaries in, and like you're drawing a boundary again. Just anyone who's here that's ever waited for evidence to be like, see, I knew it was this bad, whether it's an outer reflection, like a relationship thing, a business thing that you knew was off, but you were like, see, I knew it was off. Or even with yourself, that you've renegotiated the lines and you've, let's go back to the health example. And now you're like, see, I now stepped on the scale. I weigh this much. I hate myself. I knew I was on the wrong track, right? Like, so we do this a lot. Boundary drawing happens all the time. It happens usually out of anger and disgust, because that's when the line is clear. I don't have my ding, ding, ding bell in the car, but I just got to ding, ding, ding that in the moment, okay? Usually the lines of what's okay for you and what's not okay for you, what you're no longer willing to tolerate, are ultra clear, like clear as can be, clear as the ocean in front of me, okay? Which is, well, which might not be that clear in the camera. Clear as the mountains in front of me. It's coming from a negative prompt, meaning like it gets so bad that it pushes you to create the change. So you're like, you wait and wait and wait in terms of sabotage until something's either so dramatic, like in a relationship or a business venture, or like stepping on the scale, until it's so bad that like it comes from a negative prompt. And that's usually when things are crystal clear, when you just can't take it anymore. When you're just like at the line, like literally I call it the line of courage when you learn my flip it, but it's really like the same like line where that's one energetic notch down on like the scale of consciousness. It's actually like proven scientifically, that it's one notch down from anger and frustration. So when you are like ready to draw a line, it's usually in that level of anger, frustration, despair, disgust, where you're just so sick and tired of something that you're like, this line's clear. I've had it. It's like a lot when people walk out the door in a relationship because the harder choice is actually to stay. Like, and I have like a lot of just empathy, because sometimes the stronger thing feels like to walk out the door or like leave the situation. But when you recognize that, then you can go into the next business venture, the next diet, the next relationship, and suddenly you're like, I'm attracting the same thing. What gives? I'm like, you never cleaned it up. Okay, you can actually clean this thing up. So my point of this broadcast right now in boundaries, if you're just joining in, is where do you draw lines in a moment of disgust, anger, frustration? Where are you waiting for things sometimes to get so bad to be like, see, I knew this was going to happen, and having that tough conversation, okay? Having that tough conversation with whoever's involved. And I'm going to share with you in the lesson on Thursday when to have that conversation. And it's usually not in that moment. Like, it's usually not in that heated moment. Okay. And it's going to blow your mind, because when you learn how to actually clean up these steps and not perpetuate this pattern of like, things have to get so bad for me to create change, you'll really change your life. Because sometimes people come to me as a mindset coach and they share like this humongous dramatic story that has a lot of like acknowledgement to like, wow, you really deserve to not tolerate that anymore. And like, it's gotten so dramatic and big when they knew like 3 months, 6 months, 2 years prior to it that they needed to draw a line, and they just were too scared or didn't know how. So this lesson is really life-changing, and it's one of my biggest lessons in life for myself personally. So I love teaching this lesson because it's something that I've actually struggled with in my past quite a bit. And because I would very easily put other people's like feelings and thoughts and happiness before my own, right? I was like last on my list for many years and I learned to move myself up. So it's really a big, aha moment. That's one little nugget. Okay. So I'm just going to drop in this Instagram live some nuggets, some wisdom nuggets around this topic that I want you to percolate on and think about, because they're in the lesson on Thursday and we're having a free live Q&A tomorrow. Okay. So it's in the community. Thank you, Melissa, for sharing it. So that's one nugget I want you to like simmer on. The next nugget is, where do you renegotiate your line? Right? Where do you renegotiate the line the moment that anger fades? This happens so much. Again, in health goals and relationship goals and career tracks and things that you know are somewhere in your intuition, in your heart, you totally know something's misaligned. So again, in the moment of anger, that line becomes clear where you're like, I'm done with this. But the moment that feeling fades, whatever got you to the line, the moment it fades, this is another ding, ding, ding nugget. You don't feel the line as clearly and you renegotiate the line. You don't hold the line. And when you don't hold the line, you're really not holding your own self-respect, because you're not holding the boundary. So a lot of people do this because, again, they're not feeling that gusto of energy that they felt when they were angry, because it's really hard, honestly, to sustain like a level of anger all day, every day, to hold a line. And you really should be creating boundaries. And I hope I'm speaking to people who like right now are struggling in like, yeah, I do tolerate less than I deserve. Wherever you're doing it, to you, from others, in your business life, in your personal life, in your profession, wherever it's showing up for you, this is a lesson for humanity. Because when this flips and you learn to respect yourself, respect the line, create it from a loving place, not a fearful, angry place, your life has the potential to shift immediately. I was talking to 3 people this past week that did this lesson in combination with like my Flip It tools and some of the other tools that I'm known for. And they're like, they've literally flipped into their dream life, like things happening faster than ever before. And they're like, I can't even believe it's happening. I'm like, holding the line. First of all, you drew it in a moment of courage and like love and abundance, not fear and self-doubt and anger and resentment and like all the things. So the lesson again in boundaries, second like nugget to percolate on between now and this whole week of this topic, is when that line fades, what fades with it? What fades with it for you? You know, do you then like renegotiate like, oh, I'll just have the cake, you know, like screw it. What's another day, you know, or you're like, or is it deep? Like, is it like, I'll tolerate this behavior that I cannot stand because I'm, you know, scared of losing this job or this relationship or this friendship, or you fill in your blanks, right? Where do you renegotiate it? And you renegotiate with yourself, with what you actually desire in your heart. And it hits deep, this lesson, for a reason, because it has the ability to shift you. So it's an hour and 7 minutes, this lesson. I just watched it. We're going to go through these nuggets on Thursday, live Q&A tomorrow. But I want you to really like think about, what category of your life do you need to set clearer boundaries for yourself of self-respect? And what category of your life do you need to then hold them? Hold them. Because even in career tracks, I've seen people like renegotiate their line, take less than, you know, create different like payment options or different things, like lower their prices, like all the things, thinking that that's the thing, when that's not the actual thing. Self-worth is the thing. And if you're not feeling the self-worth and the self-respect combined, okay, like literally they're besties, you're not going to have the confidence to hold it. Okay, you're not going to hold it. And you're going to like be diminishing the integrity of what you actually want to create. So that's a little bit of the work. How do we know if it's a line or something we need to work through? Maria, such a good question. The live Q&A tomorrow is free, but so you can like percolate on even more questions, but like the line is the work with creating the boundary between you and what you clearly desire, and the disconnect between you and that. So there's work involved, which is like, I kind of bring you through in an hour, step by step, with the right verbiage and everything, like the how to, the like what to actually say, what to do, and you could just pause that lesson and you could watch it over and over again and get the exact frameworks, because there is work to be done when you learn to draw a line. Most people draw a line and cut off others, and then I'm like, that's not creative. That's just like a not sustainable way. That is just a temporary way of free passing yourself from the energy that might be triggering you. That's not a boundary. Okay, a boundary is not cutting others off. A boundary does not exist. Okay, this is the third nugget that's really, really deep along these lines. Because a lot of times people are really like, I cut this person off, cut that person off. I'm like, that's not wrong. I'm not here to tell you what to do or not to do. But like in that, it's usually from that gusto of energy, like of like fear versus love. So depending on where it came from, that action, that would be something that we should discuss in our week of Boundaries Week here. But what I did want to bring up about boundaries is where most people do it completely wrong. Okay, is that the boundary that most people place, this is probably the biggest nugget of all, by the way. Okay. Boundaries that most people place are around other human beings. And when you do that, you feel extremely powerless and weak, because you're drawing a boundary. You're seeing something that's misaligned, and you're drawing a boundary saying like, this is a boundary, now don't act that way. Or else, right? And you may give a threat or even an empty threat. This might happen in your personal life or your professional life. And when you start to draw lines around like your boss's behavior, your partner's behavior, your sister's behavior, your mom's behavior, and you're like, don't do that or else, you're placing the line in the wrong place, because now the line is completely out of your control. The line you're placing around other people and their behavior is always completely out of your control. And you'll wind up taking on the role of hyper controller that polices lines 24/7 because you're scared. So you'll be standing on the line, like waiting for people to mess up or hurt you again, whatever it is. So that's a big, if you've ever been there and you're like, OMG, I'm drawing lines in the wrong places. I'm drawing lines around other humans and how I expect them to, behave. When you do that, you will feel very powerless, as you should, because you're not in control of other human beings, right? So the line does not exist there. So when you learn to recognize what's okay for you and what's not okay for you, and you can say what's not okay for you, you learn to draw a boundary around the space around yourself. And it's such a huge part of the lesson. It's literally such a huge part of the lesson of how to draw the line around yourself and not others, and how to hold that space for yourself and how to respect that space for yourself. It's such a big discussion. And a lot of people, me included, might be on it like a lifelong journey of learning this, of really understanding what's misaligned and aligned in your life, and then how to create the space to create your dream life that you absolutely deserve, with the people inside your dream life that are treating you exactly how you'd want to be treated. So this is all about tolerating, settling. Like if you're settling for less than in fear of something else, like this is so much. I often hear as a mindset coach, people talking about this in their jobs, like I'm doing this, but I want this, or in their relationships, I'm settling for this, but I really want that. And if you're stuck in that, definitely jump into this week's hot topic, because I'm just kicking it off right now on Instagram, but we're going to go deep inside this lesson. And like I said, it's an hour and 7 minutes. Lessons happening on Thursday, and actually I'm going to obviously shrink it to just an hour. We're going to watch different parts of it. We're going to go through the framework. If you're already in that content inside my Manifesting Love course. I just had another lady, by the way, this past week, Deborah, shout out to Deborah M, tell me that she manifested her soulmate, like from this course. So kudos to you for, she's like, I drew the line, I held the line, and her perfect match, she met, like not on a dating app, but like at a sound bath. And she said it like in one of our last week's Zoom. So I'm able to share that publicly. Usually like I don't share all the stuff that I get to see coming in on the weekly of you guys in my courses doing the work and doing the do. But she drew the line, held the line, and the guy literally showed up and it's her soulmate. She's getting married. Like it's just also exciting. So when you do this across the board, in love, in relationships, in family dynamics, in professional, like career, job stuff, like in health, like you realize that so much of life is drawing clear boundaries around what's okay and what's not. And when it's not, what to do with that. And that's actually where I found most people mess up. Okay, just total honest talk right now. It's where most people mess up over and over again, drawing boundaries in other places, renegotiating the lines, like not drawing it properly and not understanding a total mindset framework and just taking action and hyper controlling and only trying to action their way there. And I'm like, if you don't shift your mindset, your emotional, like, and you know, if you don't shift the emotions and the mindset around this, you'll stay stuck in this. And it's so out of control. Okay. It's so out of your control because you're doing it from the wrong energy. You're doing it from fear. So you never want to take action from that space. So that's what I've seen. That's what I've even personally been inside myself, you know, when I've struggled with this. And I can't wait to share more with you. Can't wait to help you on this. And, you know, I'm a student and teacher of my own work, and nothing is more satisfying than when you're part of a collective group like Strong Confident Living, where we're working on this stuff together, where people are like, oh, you know what, I've totally had that happen, and I'm like, me too, or someone else is like, me too, and we're like, oh, you know, let's not do that anymore. Let's hold this space for each other to create change.